Right then, Aggers, one place to start and one place only. That is the news that England captain Ben Stokes has been ruled out of the fifth test with a shoulder injury.
Yeah, no real surprise. I think having interviewed him after the Manchester match, he's exhausted, obviously, but that shoulder was clearly giving him some trouble. He kept going on it. He's a lion-hearted man. But, when you consider everything else, he must have wondered about playing as a batsman simply because his influence as a captain is so important, which suggests that actually it's quite a serious injury. It's a grade 3 tear. And now his priority, let's face it, is packed his kit away. That'll come out again in Perth in November for the first test match. It's really sad. This Test series has been absurdly shoehorned in. These players are knackered. Look at the England setup. The bowlers have had it. India's the same. Bumrah, can we play him or not? They'd love to play him. They've got injuries. It's a shame because you want Test cricket to be played at its best. And the fact that England are going in without Carse, without Archer, Chris Woakes, goodness knows what he's on. I mean, he's played in every Test match. He'll still be trudging in. It shouldn't be like that. It should be spread. It should be spread out. Have time for the players to get a break, which is what they need. 5-day game. It's been like a heavyweight boxing contest, hasn't it? Both teams have been on the ropes. Both teams have come fighting back. It's been a terrific series, and who knows what's going to happen over the next 5 days.
Deep, I imagine the news of Stokes' absence will be something that India and India cricket fans will have received with a fair amount of cheer, given his importance to the England side.
I wouldn't say cheer. Listen, you want to see the best players playing against the best, and not having Ben Stokes obviously takes a bit of that shine off the Test match. There's no two ways about it. Yes, but that's a huge blow for England and advantage India, no two ways about it, because how I see this is Ben Stokes, the player, yes, very, very important. Obviously, last game was a great example of that. But Ben Stokes, the captain as well, I think he's the talisman of the team. He's the glue which keeps this very good side. But the reason why England has been so good, especially at home, I think a lot to do with his captaincy and how he leads. He's not just a captain, he's a leader of that group. And while it's advantage India, but it's quite sad that he won't be there for what you call the championship round.
Well, let's hear from the England captain. He's been telling the BBC's chief cricket reporter, Stefan Schemmelt, about why he won't be playing in the game.
It's pretty obvious, I had a pretty sore shoulder in the last game. So, I just wanted to get scanned and sort of find out what was going on, and torn a muscle in my shoulder. So, we tried to wait as long as we could, and sort of decisions, like this are not straightforward. I think you got to, let the emotion and everything like that really settle in before you make a very clear, firm decision. I did turn up to training this morning to try and give it a run to see if I could go as a batter, but then I think when I was just stood out there watching training and everything like that, I think the reality of the extent of the injury and obviously risk and reward, it's not something that I think would be a sensible call to make, considering how much worse it could be by going out there. And obviously very, very disappointing, but
How close were you to playing?
Probably differed throughout a couple of days after the game. Bit of optimism, but I think the sensible thing, obviously chatting to the medical guys, Baz, and coming to terms with it, it definitely wouldn't have been the right decision.
What's the extent of the damage?
The muscle I've torn, I can't pronounce it. Grade 3 tear of one of the muscles is that I can't pronounce, but obviously going out there and risking something further, which could end up being a lot longer than that, was something I wasn't willing to risk, and I wouldn't expect anyone else to go out there with this injury to themselves. So, I think right call's been made. Obviously very disappointed that can't finish off the series and help the guys, push for a win and win the series, but got to be sensible, and I think the right decision's definitely been made.
Injury or no injury, you weren't going to play in the 100 anyway, so you were looking at a period of rest after this Test match, and you haven't been involved in England's white ball cricket. When do you think the next time you will play cricket will be?
Hopefully, Australia.
No plan to do anything between now and November?
No, get this injury sorted. Obviously, rehab period will start as soon as possible, and all my focus will be going on to making sure that I'm round and ready to go out in Australia.
Once the decision on you had been made, how did you then make the decision about the rest of the 11?
You go through so many different scenarios with potentials of the game. We'd spoken about me just playing as a batter and what the team would look like. And then, once the decision was made that I wasn't going to play, then obviously Beth comes in and does give us a bit of variety with left arm spin as well as Rooty. But turning up here and seeing the wicket a lot greener and a bit more live grass than the other wickets, we probably would have gone down the route of four seamers even if I couldn't bowl and was going to play anyway, because we feel like that's probably going to give us the best chance of winning this game. But as it's turned out, it's been a forced decision for me to miss out and bring Beth in and bat at number 6.
How's Jofra Archer?
Yeah, Jofra's good. I think he's put a phenomenal amount of effort and energy into these 2 test matches. He's got through them well. He was a huge part as to us getting the result at Lords to take us 2-1 up, and the expectations around him coming back into the team were obviously very high, and he's delivered some very good performances. I know we couldn't quite get over the line and get those last 6 wickets that we needed to last week, but judging on the input and the energy that he gave into the team over the 2 games that he's been back in, can't say that he's left anything out there.
When did Ollie Pope find out he was captain?
From about 20 minutes after I spoke with Baz and just said, well, I don't think this is the right thing for me to play.
And that was this morning?
Yeah.
And Ollie's done the job before. He did it a bit at the end of last year. Slots back in, he knows the drill.
Yeah, pretty much. He's done it before. He's done well when he's had to take on the responsibility of that if I've not been available to play. And yeah, he's already had a go at me. Don't know if it's common knowledge, but it's nice when you are captain, you get given the big room at the hotel, and he's already asked me, and I said, last time you were here you got a test match 100 as captain, so I think you'll be alright in one of the normal rooms.
Opportunity for Jacob Bethel, but he hasn't played much red ball cricket recently.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
But it is a chance for him to play his first test on home soil.
Yeah, really exciting for him. He's been in the squad now for a very long time. We've seen his performances that he gave to us in New Zealand when that opportunity presented himself, and again, he's coming into a different role. Obviously, he took responsibility on a batting number 3 out there because we had to have Popey keeping. So he now gets a chance at batting number 6. And I think a player like him, playing all formats, it just allows you to be way more versatile than sort of pigeonholing you to a certain position. So I'm really excited for him to go out there and get an opportunity this week. And hopefully he can, add to, a pretty solid team performance that can hopefully means that we get the win and then win the series.
What happened at the end of the Old Trafford test? There's been a lot of reaction to that around the world. What have you made of that?
I get it from both sides. Obviously, after I think it's a very easy thing to comment on when you've not been out in the field for 250 overs at the end of there, and Jadeja and Washington played incredibly well. So I totally get it that they wanted to be out there and score their hundreds, and rightly so. They played very well, but I don't know what else was expected of us to do. Like, I wasn't, as I said at the end of the game, I wasn't going to bowl any of my frontline bowlers because of still got 1 game to go. So we were right to offer the handshake. They were also right to say no, we want to get 100. So I think just cool it down on it. Like, we're over it. I think India are pretty over it, and it's done now. And then obviously all the focus goes onto this week.
I suppose all of this shows, doesn't it, the conversations that happened after Old Trafford, what happened yesterday. It matters, doesn't it? Like, teams are tense, it's high stakes. Sometimes a lot of cricket is played where it doesn't matter. But this really does matter, and it matters to both teams, doesn't it? Yeah, definitely. I don't think that's changed throughout the whole series. I think every game, every session, every hour's mattered to both teams. And yeah, I think just take a bit of a back seat to everything that's gone on and don't let it be the talking point of what's so far been a very, very good series. There's obviously been some moments where the emotions have come out from both teams, and India and England, I really don't think that we're looking into it too much. I think a lot can get built up about certain little moments that can get blown out of proportion by external and media sides of things like that, whereas we're over it. Just as a last thought, before the first test match of the summer against Zimbabwe, you said you want your team to be dominant, you want to dominate. Now you come here to the last test match of the summer, and there's a big difference between 3-1 and 2-2. 3-1 does look dominant, doesn't it? It's a big opportunity this week. Massive opportunity, yeah. It's a weird one because it's just been so toe-to-toe throughout the whole series so far. There's been moments where we've had to wrestle back momentum throughout a test match. There's been moments where India have had to wrestle back momentum towards them. I think last week was a great example of that. Yeah, both teams have been on top. Both teams have not been on top, and we've both been able to fight ourselves back into the game, and I think that just shows the quality of both teams, the quality of cricket that has been played.
And yeah, look, we know that the series is still on the line here. Not only do we want to win the series, but we want to go into this game and give ourselves a chance of winning that and setting this game up. And we know that India are going to come here fighting still, because they don't want to be leaving England with a series loss. So the next best thing for them is to win this game and then draw. But we'll be doing everything in our powers to not let that happen.
Well, that's England captain Ben Stokes with the BBC's chief cricket reporter Stefan Schemmel. Stokes missing the match with a shoulder injury. Jonathan Agnew alongside me, as is former India wicketkeeper Deep Das Gupta. So much to unpack from all of that, Aggers, not least the fact that, knowing Stokes as we do, this is clearly a pretty significant injury, because he would have been desperate to play in this.
Yes, I mean, he'd have tried to play as a batsman if he couldn't. It's interesting because he and Ollie Pope are such different characters. And Pope has done it before, of course, but Stokes is that leader, and there's so much energy that he creates from the character that he is, has been fed into the team. And Ollie Pope's a very affable, he's just a different character to Ben Stokes. But he'll step up. Stokes will be there. Brendan McCullum will be there, and the players will respond. But you look at that England team. I mean, I've got to say, India come here with all the momentum. They really do. Having saved that game as they did at Old Trafford, that's as good as a win. In fact, Shubman Gill said that to me immediately after the game when I interviewed him, and he's right. They come with all that momentum, and you look at the England team. The seam attack is just kind of just somehow just cobbled together. Chris Woakes has played every game. Gus Atkinson has played a game in the second 11 for Surrey. Jamie Overton's coming back from injury. Josh Tongue, who hasn't played for a while either, played the first 2 tests. Jacob Bethell, one first-class game all summer. I mean, they're putting real pressure on these players. Why has he been carrying the drinks all this time when he could have been out? He's a young lad, he's 21. I feel sorry for him. He'd be desperate to get out there and play. It'd have improved his game. He's played one first-class game and is coming into a series decider. Now, he's a very promising young cricketer. This might be the making of him, as it were. But they're not half putting some pressure on these people to expect them to come out and to perform under this sort of pressure with the lack of preparation that they've had.
Deep, it's been a fascinating series, not just because of the needle that we'll get onto and the action on the field, but also keeping an eye on who's still standing as much as anything. Because watching Ben Stokes bowling that spell, clearly holding the back of his leg, holding his shoulder, you're watching Jasprit Bumrah and thinking, is he going to get through the next spell? It has been a sort of a series where half of our attention has been focusing on who might be available for the next game.
That is so true. And I mean, this could be a series on an OTT platform, the way the series has gone about. It's been extremely competitive, and like you said, there have been big players missing, Bumrah missing for a few test matches, and now from an Indian perspective as well. I mean, Rishabh not being there, he's injured, he's out. Bumrah, chances are, even though Shubman is saying they'll take a call tomorrow morning before the game starts or before the toss, but it's highly unlikely, it seems, that he's going to play. So it's been that kind of a series. I mean, there's so many subplots to this series so far. It's been fascinating. And having said all of that, I mean, players' availability and all that, but the quality of cricket over the last 4 test matches has been absolutely spectacular.
Let's get a little bit more into Stokes' role in the side, Aggers, because we know that the balance of this England team is so absolutely focused on Stokes' involvement. This is a massive call for England not to play him in this game, and it must be a significant enough injury. And Stefan Schemmel has written an article on the BBC Sport website about England staring into the abyss of the possibility he wouldn't be fit for the Ashes series. I mean, he is that important.
Yeah, they couldn't take any risk. As simple as that. Even a match as important as this, there's no way they could put Stokes on the line for Australia. I mean, I go back to the point again. This series has been so crammed together, and let's not forget that England played Zimbabwe earlier on as well. This is their 6th Test match, and we haven't got to the end of July yet. So, this is the structure of the new season. I find it ironic that the ECB today have been trumpeting the sale of the hundreds, and all this money coming in. but they've chosen today to do it when actually one of their main players is kind of broken, and others are as well. There's an irony about that, if I'm honest, because without that, you'd have had obviously more time between these games, and you want the best players to be playing. But no, Stokes, he'll be there. He'll still have an influence. It's not the same as watching him out there in the field, where he's constantly moving things around. He's constantly got plans on the go. He's a very impressive captain. I mean, he'd been lovely to have played under Ben Stokes. I think he'd have expected a huge amount of you, and you'd have given it. He's one of those people who you would run through a brick wall for. But Ollie Pope has done it before. But I just make the point again: they are very different characters.
They're very different captains as well, because yes, there is a template there, and Ollie Pope's been part of this setup for a while. He's led the side before. But when you look at Ben Stokes' captaincy, it's a lot to do with gut feel and what he's feeling at that point in time. So it's the sixth sense and that feeling that he kind of addresses, and you can see that on the field. Every now and then he'll change the field placement and all, and that is very unique with him. And Ollie Pope can well be a very good captain, but then what we've seen with Ben Stokes, it's that gut feel, it's that sixth sense that keeps him going, and maybe that's where what will be missed, I believe.
Yeah, and his bowling.
Obviously,
you look at England's bowling attack deep, don't you? And without Stokes, and these players coming back from injury and so on, it's a tall order.
Let's go through the changes then in the England lineup. So out go Archer and Carse, as well as Liam Dawson, who's come back. Lasted all of one Test match after.
That wasn't very impressive. I mean, as a spinner coming back, you got the opportunity to bowl on a last day pitch with a mountain of runs behind you, and you didn't get a wicket, and that's disappointing. But I mean, he is a victim of the Stokes injury, really, because they have to get another all-rounder in there. Bethel bowls some left-arm spin. I mean, I think Brendan McCullum was very, very keen to make the point. We don't see him as being a spinner, if you like. He's a batsman. Bowls a bit of left-arm spin. Joe Root, as you know, he's picked up his Test wickets. But that is why the main reason, I think, why Liam Dawson has left out. I think if Stokes had been playing, I think that Dawson would probably have played. But his plans for the winter might be rather up in the air. He bowled tidily, and he did give control, but that last day performance wasn't very good.
So, plan B without Stokes, there isn't the obvious all-rounder filling that void, so in comes Bethel to bat at 6. I mean, you mentioned the lack of cricket for him during the course of this summer. He's been carrying the drinks and being very willing at doing that and coming on the field and one thing and another. But let's make no bones about it. His last 3 fixtures, all earlier this month, all T20s, not played a first-class match since the back end of June, in which he scored 20 and 12. I mean, he's not had the cricket.
No, and I said earlier, I feel sorry for him. As a young professional sportsman, you want to play. You want to be out there playing, running around. I mean, even if it's a league game, you just want to play. Throwdowns in the nets and running around and changing people's boots and taking gloves out and so on. It's all very nice to be amongst the big boys, amongst the England team, but you want to get out and play. And so, I go back to the point again. They're putting a lot of pressure on people like him and Overton and Atkinson, who just have not got that playing behind them. You come into a Test match, and a Test match like this, you want to be informed. You want to be confident in your mind that I'm playing well. Well, how does Bethel know if he's playing well or not? He's had a few in the middle of the nets, presumably, had a few throwdowns, but that's not the same as going out playing for Warwickshire, getting 100, which he's never done before. I mean, he could have ticked that off this season had he been given the chance. All that sort of stuff. But he is a very promising cricketer. But we shall see how he goes. But I do think that we have to take all that into account.
See, this is a good point, though, isn't it? Because as the home side, you do have the ability to send some of your squad off to get some time out in the middle. Touring sides, they don't have that luxury. The guys, I suppose Arshdeep Singh would be an example, whoever it might be, or coming into the game last time, Anshul Kamboj, who struggled. But, England have had the option to send players away, and they've not done that necessarily in the case of Bethel. I mean, this is a massive game for him.
There's no two ways about it. Listen, first of all, I think he's extremely talented. I think he's a brilliant talent. No two ways about it. I've seen him from under 19 World Cup, I think was it 2021, followed him since. But then again, like Agus said, I mean, there was every opportunity of sending somebody in and just get into a game situation. No matter how many hours you spend in the gym or on the nets, a game situation is totally different. It's completely different. Like Agus said, it could be even a club game, but there was an opportunity of maybe sending him play some first-class cricket, some competitive cricket. But yeah, I mean, it would be on him, and it'd be very unfortunate if generally people judge him based on, let's say, one test match. I hope that doesn't happen. I'm sure it won't happen. But it would be kind of pressure. But having interacted with him for very little, though, it just comes across as a very, obviously talented, but also very confident young man. So maybe that might help him carry through this as well, this period. So, yeah, looking forward to him, to be fair. And also, I think there were talks of him batting at 3. I know he's batted, he's opened and all of that.